Hello everyone, and a really warm welcome to another courageous conversation where we are celebrating the courage and wisdom of the women in our network and beyond. And my name's Pollyanna Darling, and I look after community engagement and strategy for TreeSisters. And I'm really thrilled to be speaking with Ursula Dutkiewicz, which I've probably said wrong, but really warm welcome to you, Ursula. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure. Lovely to be here.
So the first thing I'm going to do is just let everyone know a little bit more about you. So Ursula is a passionate tree sister and nature-loving creative. She's been working for 30 years as a ceramic artist and believes that having her hands in the living clay of Mother Earth has led her to feel deeply connected to the planet. Conscious of her use of resources, she has wanted to find ways to give back to the planet and has kept asking the question, how can I use my art as an instrument for change? She's one of our artist partners. She is a water carrier, a monthly donor, and a Heartwood Volunteer, and has been holding space for TreeSisters to grow in Australia for many years, for which I am deeply grateful. So Ursula, I would really love it if we could begin with why you're a tree sister.
Well, thanks, Pollyanna. Lovely to be here with you. I'm a tree sister because I so love what I found when I discovered TreeSisters. A way to give back to the planet and an invitation to how can we co-create together. And I have just kept feeding into the system whatever came to me, sometimes probably annoying you all, but I, as an artist, haven't had a lot of money, so I wanted to find ways that I could give back without having to do it in a monetary way to begin with. So I would feed in Facebook posts, I would share things. I've probably driven all my friends a bit crazy. But the more I get involved, the more I just love it. And when I first heard Claire talk on the Women on Fire YouTube, I think it was at about 2012, I just went instantly, yes, this is the most amazing thing and we can do this. And it was partly too, my sister's house had been flooded in Queensland, and she showed me her garden, like totaled, it washed away. And then a year later, she showed me her another photo, and I couldn't believe that that was her garden, and it was because it was in the tropics and it had grown really fast. So when I heard Claire say that, I was just, yeah, we could do that, I understand it, why, and trees do grow really fast, and I've seen in a year from nothing to a massive garden. So that's the thing that touched me most. And then also gathering women together, because I had been in the Women's Circus, a Melbourne theatre company, originally set up for women who'd been sexually abused, but it sort of spread out. And I was just a technician, and then I became a stage manager and on the production team and ended up on the board, but it was a massive undertaking. And every year we would take over a space, might be down at the Docklands, a derelict space, and create something massive out of it and do this production with 100 women. So it was all working together like a little beehive, and it was so fantastic. So to gather the women of the world and bring us together in loving the planet green again, to me felt really like a very strong and powerful thing to do. And I haven't looked back. I've found a fantastic sisterhood. I keep meeting creative people all over the world who are just so wonderful and doing, as we each step up and become brave, which TreeSisters helps you do, and to take steps forward in life through meditations and different things, I've just kept saying yes. And here I am, and there's great things happening, and I'm really excited for what's going to happen next year. But I just kept volunteering at different things. Like I saw a need for transcriptions, so I transcribed one of Claire's beautiful full moon calls and sent it to her, and then she said, oh, fantastic. So I then started doing that and became the full moon transcription mama, which was so fantastic, and did over 30 transcriptions. And now we have a pot of women. We have as a volunteer, I joined the volunteers and became a Heartwood member. And we have a whole pod of women transcribing all the different calls, and a whole lot of different teams of women all over the place, and we do it all online, doing these incredible different parts of TreeSisters. So it really is like a little hive joining together and doing these things all over the world. So it's very exciting, and I really love it, and it warms my heart daily just being a TreeSister. It's such a wonderful thing to do. So I now can give more money and have found creative ways to do it. So, but I love the fact that, you know, it's a reforestation revolution. A million women giving $10 a month is a billion trees in the ground. So makes it so simple, you know. It's a beautiful way to give back to the planet.
Yeah, it is very simple.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to dive a little deeper into that statement that you made about the question that you've been asking of how can I use my art as an instrument for change? Where did that question come from? Like, how did that come to you to even explore that?
I had been asking it for a long, long time, but once I found TreeSisters, that sort of, I could start the threads started coming together. Like the first time you and I met was when I had an idea to do, actually I was doing, making sacred circles out of clay that would then be used in circles, and you would, and I had leftover one. So I did one with Claire, and of course her story of the car crash, how she was skidding on black ice towards the edge of a cliff and smashed into a tree. And as she sat there, the whole of TreeSisters came to her and fully formed. So I so loved that story, and I made this circle of her. And then I decided that would be wonderful to make these circles. And so as a creative idea, I thought, oh, that's fantastic. And then I could sell them and plant trees with the money I made. Anyway, that's when you were coming to town. You said, I'm coming to town. And I said, let's do the first one. And we had that wonderful little gathering of 5 of us, and we kind of used it as a way to seed Australia, TreeSisters, and make it grow more. So, you know, that intention, we set the intention of that's what we wanted to do. And I find that so amazing that here we are 5 years later, and TreeSisters Australia has been birthed in a really big way. Through a lot of work from you, and that TreeSisters has recognised that you know, we're a great source here in the Southern Hemisphere, and the only way we're going to reforest the tropics is all of us, every country in the world, if we all join. And we're watching that slowly happen. And you know, I'm loving meeting women from India and Africa and the Netherlands, and all sorts of strange places keep popping in. So yes. So those circle makings went on, and I've met other TreeSisters through that. And then I was selling the work that we made at those. If people put them back into the system, or the ones I made, we would sell it. I would plant trees with that. So I loved that idea, and then I was there, yeah, let's build on that and what will happen next. So I've kept waiting for that. And then I had, about 10 years ago, I started a Flowering Heart project, which was little red hearts that I would make after a retreat I went on. And I started giving them out into the world just when someone touched me, a moment touched me, or I met someone. And anyway, a few thousand of those have gone out. But then this year I just went, they have to go green and they can plant trees. So it's been really exciting watching that happen and slowly seed out into the world. And now it feels like it could get massive. So, and that feels like my question answered. Once that dropped in, I was there, yes, that's amazing. And then part of that idea came, I wanted to do a big tree picture and make a travelling art installation out of it, which is all just come to me. The ideas sort of pop in and I'm there, really, that's really big. But sitting behind me here is the Tree of Life. So at the end of last year, I decided to gather some women artists together and we would make this work that could travel, and then I could speak to TreeSisters about it. It could go to schools, it could go wherever, to communities. And originally it was just going to be one tree, but we ended up with 5 women. So TreeSisters has this map of a restorer species. And so the painting, it turned out 5 women came that day. So it's got 5 trees. You're seeing 3 of them, but it follows the map for those who don't know, which is reveal, embrace, embody, activate and shine, and then belonging in the middle. So if I move, there's a big planet Earth behind me right in the middle of these 5 trees. So it's going to be a tool to help speak to it. And yeah, I've got a few things planned for it already. We took it to the Seven Sisters Festival, Pollyanna and I, earlier in the year. And wonderful artists, Deborah Punton, Karen Hopkins, Zenica Douglas and Tessa Wild. So, and also in that, it was like bringing women together makes us stronger. So it makes TreeSisters stronger. So I felt this was really a good way to build on my creative ideas. And so the little hearts, this is a little green heart. I'll put that there. This is the flowering heart. And this, well, in Australia, it sells for $20, but it plants 40 trees. So how simple is that? It's just a wonderful way to give back. And I've had people now, someone bought one for her, her daughter's 21st birthday. So she gave it to her for her daughter. And so it planted 40 trees. It's just a beautiful little gift. And the way it's gifted is you hold it and warm it up and then gift it into somebody's hands. And
I love what you've said before as well about when we were at Seven Sisters, you were inviting women to hold the heart and feel into their own intention for the planet and drop into that space. And I really love that. And I think part of what I love about this project so much is that it's come from your own heart. You've created these hearts, and all of the money goes to put trees in the ground. And somehow that heart connection delights other people. Because we had women that came and bought them, one for each one of their children. Yes. We had a lady that bought one for her mother's grave because she wanted something to put on it. And there's something so profoundly hopeful, I think, about creating art that transforms it into trees. Like that seems like a most extraordinary thing. And also it's making me really emotional, but just that we can give back to our planet through artistic endeavor, you know, which is so dismissed by the, you know, our sort of standard culture that, you know, art and music and stuff, they're like over there somewhere. Whereas here is this way of transforming art into trees. It's really very beautiful. And I'm interested to know how it feels for you personally inside that, and what you are deriving from that creative process.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing really just warms my heart daily, the more I feel into it. Yeah, that's I'm getting a bit stumped on that question, Polly.
That's right. That's okay.
But what I love is watching creativity as an idea. I mean, we're so closed off to creativity. We live in our concrete little worlds, and it's like creativity is the spark of life, you know, for us as humans to come up with ideas that, you know, to live in the plastic world is not one that really warms my heart. You know, to have my hands in the living clays of Mother Earth is something that's so special. And the children need that. And, you know, now we're finding out that like microbes in the soil and stuff are really good for us, and they're good for your gut health, and they help your immune system and all those kind of things. So if art is a spark that enlivens people or gives people joy and find some way to open you up to more possibility. And, you know, it's creativity that makes the world, you know, the creative ideas and I think now artists have to step up. You know, we have that as I've taken on as my mission, and I'm seeing other artists everywhere, you know, and I see it online. They're saying, you know, we have to step forth and use our art to wake people up and make them aware of what's going on in the planet.
Yeah, because art can it touches something deeper than, you know, an explanation or a frightening statement, or, you know, it reaches deeper into a person in ways that we can't necessarily express. Yes,
definitely. And, you know, people coming together and doing that is just a wonderful thing. And like for the heart, for me, what I want to do is bring people together to make the hearts and just feed them back into the system. And I've been talking to a couple of teachers from schools, and to take the flowering heart into schools, and the children, you know, end up with a little heart. So I'm also taking the flower off the heart, and that'll make, you know, half the price, and people end up with a little heart that, and I'll show people how to use it, and I show people how to gift it. And it's just spreading. It's like a seed in itself, and it's spreading that, and then people share that story on. So if art can touch your heart in that way, and it touches the emotion, and that's the most beautiful thing about it, I think. And that's what I'm looking for in mine. And this painting, I hope, will, you know, touch people in that way. And it's also, you know, as I get older, my memory is not so good. So it's like my reminder of what's going on. And I look at the picture and it helps me speak to it, right? And in a creative way, not you know, reading paper or anything. Like when we did the launch, people were there. Oh, you can look at the, you know, up TreeSisters and stuff, and they just, no, tell us all about it. Keep talking. You know, we don't want to look at anything else. We just want to hear you talk about it. So, and that's it, just talking from your heart. And, you know, heart, art, earth, all the same thing. Just, you know, we all need that, and that coming together is really something that's going to help the planet in a big way. So.
And how many trees have the Green Hearts planted so far?
Well, I'm actually losing track. So, I mean, at Seven Sisters, we planted nearly 2,000, didn't we? And funded the planting of 2,000. So I'm altogether, for what I've done this year, I'm heading towards being responsible for 10,000.
Woohoo!
But like, I had a birthday fundraiser. You know, I love to find different ways to give. It's you know, as an artist, I'm only bringing in a very small amount of money. I do a little bit of teaching. I sell a few little things, stuff like that. But you know, I'm really looking for different ways to do it. So TreeSister has a fundraiser. It was so fantastic. It was made my birthday last for 2 weeks, and it was so exciting to watch it. I planted about 3,500 trees because of it. You know?
Wow, it's amazing. It's so amazing. You know, as somebody who does physically plant trees, I know what an effort it is to just put one tree in the ground. You know, to dig the hole and get the plant and make sure it's planted properly and protect it from hares and, you know, wallabies and things that are going to eat it, and water it and all of that. And to be able to, you know, have an artistic project that's actually funded the planting of 10,000 trees is quite extraordinary. You know, it's really extraordinary. Yeah. So as this is a courageous conversation, I'd really love to ask you, how it's been for you stepping forward, you know, with your ideas and with your art and standing up and speaking to people and, you know, gradually expanding what you're willing to do in the world, and how much has that required courage?
Yeah, a real lot of courage. You know, the first time I contacted TreeSisters in person, I can remember writing a little post and sitting there with my finger hovering over it, and I kept pulling my finger back and no, I can't, I'm not brave enough. And finally I went, just press the button, and I pressed the button and sent it. And then I got this wonderful warm response back, and it was so lovely, and that kind of is the beauty of TreeSisters, you know, that kind of you know, wanting to be generous with how we respond with people, because it's all of us. It's not, there's nobody in there or anything. It's just all these wonderful women, you know, giving from their hearts and loving the planet green. So that's what I've lost my thought, Pollyanna.
Courage. I was asking you about the courage you've needed to do all this.
Yeah, so then I just kept doing it. And I remember I was involved with a couple of online forums or something of women who were quite out there and running these webinars and stuff. Anyway, I felt brave enough in the end. I actually sent them links to TreeSisters and got responses from them. So every time I did that, I felt braver and braver. And then to join the Heartwood was such a big move for me. The Heartwood is like the core volunteer team within TreeSisters. So, and then we're meeting, you know, on Zoom and doing all these things. And in the beginning, I wouldn't talk. I felt too shy, and I thought my offer, you know, that all that I'm not good enough and my offering. And when you heard people speak forth, it was like, oh my God, there's such amazing people, where they come from and what they do, and they're so articulate. And then I started realizing, well, she's actually an author, or she's someone who speaks for a job and stuff. So I just went, oh, well, I just talk from my heart. It's not, you know, and I'm not very good at writing, even for me doing the volunteering transcription. I mean, I had a learning disability as a child, and it was dreadful. And I don't know full stops and commas and anything. So here I was doing these transcriptions. And in fact, Claire talks like that when she's covered. It doesn't feel like there's any full stops or anything. So I would get transcriptions with only a full stop whenever I thought, oh, maybe there should be a stop there. So anyway, that is all right. You know, you give your gift that you have to give, and through it, things evolve. And I mean, as an artist, I do have to talk. And in the Women's Circus, I did talk as a stage manager. I'd warm the women up and stuff. So I do have that in me. But I don't like to prepare anything either. Like when I've got up, I had a big project where I did have to get up and talk, and I choose not to prepare, but I might choose a word or something that inspired me, and then that I would use to talk to. And I just let it come out, whatever it was in me. And
that's very brave.
It is very brave, because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. But one of my worst fears is people asking me questions that I won't understand. So I have to, like before, you asked me a question and I'm like, oh, I don't, you know, I had a little bit of a brain moment, which I do, but I'm just there. I'm real. I'm here. This is me. And that's what I've been doing the whole time, is just calling people to TreeSisters. And, you know, I started photographing nature some time ago, and just posting those, and I post a full moon picture. Anyway, those ended up getting used for some of those pictures for the moon, and TreeSisters use them. And I think social media is one of the most amazing things for change. And the fact that we can join up all over the world and make this happen and become a powerful force on behalf of nature. Like, I mean, you watch those groups like Avaz, who does the online protests, and think, this is a way to really make change. So I'm so excited. I don't care if I have to be scared and vulnerable and all those things, but I want to be brave and I want to be courageous and I want to do that on behalf of the planet. And I want everyone to join me. So come on board and join us. It's good for your soul and your heart, and it's good for the planet, and it's such a wonderful thing. I'm just enlivened by it every day. And yeah, so it does take courage, but I've grown with it as it's come. So I'm like a tree. I was like in the ground, and then I was a seed, and I'm sprouting, and I'm slowly, and that's what Shine's about. And now I've got a tree coming out the top of my head, and all my I'm like just sprouting tree sisters wherever I go. And I'm nearly on 1,000 hearts, which is going to plant 45 trees, which is so exciting. And when I took the flower out the middle and thought I could take this to schools and spread the word there, like you're planting seeds in children and people of there is a greener planet to be had. You know, we're chopping down at the rate of knots. Well, I can go out and protest, which I can't because I haven't got, you know, I've got other things going on in my life. Yeah. So if I don't want to throw myself down in front of a bulldozer, I can do it this way, you know, by sharing my gift. And that's the invitation of TreeSisters. What's your gift? You know, like you're an author, Pollyanna, and you share some of your money from each book you sell, children's books, to give to plant trees. So there's ways we can all give back. And that's what I've been doing and finding my way. And here I've found one that's actually going to take off, which is really scary. And I have to travel around spruiking it. But, you know, working with these wonderful artists, this big painting is going to help. It's called Tree of Life. So that will travel around. And you can invite me to your place, not around the world. I can send it to you. But in the meantime.
In Australia.
Yeah, it can travel around Australia and it's got a few little seeds planted, and I see it as planting seeds. But next year, as we go into Year of the Tree, which is going to be a massive year for all of us, and you can see it happening around the world, these places saying we planted 300 million trees in a day or whatever. You know, if we're all doing that, and for me, this is the easy way, Pollyanna. It's true, to go out and plant a tree. I would find, you know, yeah, maybe I could get one or two, but when I sell one heart, 40 trees go in the ground. I mean, and you know, you think there's a group of women who have just taken it and they're offsetting their trip. The retro girls are heading up the East Coast, and you know, they bought 25 hearts and are gifting them out as they go, and it's offsetting their trip. So there's easy ways. And if you're an artist, you know, create some art and just start selling it for the planet. Get your children to make little green hearts and colour them in and cut them out of cardboard and sell them on the lemonade stall. You know, there's so many different things we can all do that are so simple, just to you know, and if you're selling something for $2, you know, you're planting a whole lot of trees for that. $5 is 10 trees. So to stand under 10 trees is so amazing. You know, you're actually in your backyard enjoying that, which will go on for a long time.
Beautiful. So my last question to you is, if you could speak to all the artists out there and invite them to come into TreeSisters, what would your invitation be to them?
Well, come in and join us and see what happens. I mean, my creativity has just blossomed, absolutely blossomed. And from it just sparks ideas, and that little seed can just grow and grow. And whatever it is that you're creating, you know, whether it's one book and you plant a tree for every book, or if you're doing a painting, I make ceramic porcelain, like eggshell, little slabs of clay tiles, and I put my photos on them. And then not all the time, but mostly when I sell them, I plant 5 or 10 trees for each one that I sell. So very simple way to give back to the planet. And, you know, if you haven't already created idea, create one, join together with other people and make art that saves the planet, you know, help spread the word. From the creative soul, so much can happen. If all the artists around the world join us, we will make change happen. And I'm just imagining the world where this is and it exists, and that we're all here doing our bit in that creative way, not from concrete or anything, or find a way to make concrete art.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here this morning and sharing your incredible enthusiasm and dedication and creativity. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, Ursula.
Yeah, so lovely to talk to you, Pollyanna, and so excited for what's growing here in Australia for TreeSisters. And there's so much up, like our gathering in November. And yeah, we've planted seeds in our hearts and now we watch them grow. So beautiful to be here. And thank you for encouraging me to step up, because you do that for me. When I see you, every time you step forward, it helps me step up, and then everyone can step on each other's shoulders, so we stand tall together. Beautiful to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ursula. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. See you.
And for anyone watching, if you would like to step in and become a Tree Sister, do go to www.treesisters.org/join. You can step in as a donor to fund tree planting. You can become a volunteer. You can bring forward your gifts. There's so many ways that you can join us. So please do join us. And I will see you again for another courageous conversation really soon.
Bye.